Good afternoon and good morning, all. Lots in the news on American boarding schools, American Indian boarding schools. Everybody's messaging me. People are asking me, "Oh, is this going to help us? Is this for your narrative?" And folks, I've been at this for 3 years. I know all about the United States of America. And well, for the First Peoples, they are one overlapping peoples. Their geography, their historical peoples' boundaries do not begin or end with the United States. The problem is the actions of Canada and Canada's government all the way through their period till now today, post 1945, makes them guilty, all of them guilty, beyond anything of the United States. As terrible as the United States is, I can tell you all this. Already been all through it. I keep it out of the narrative because it will not get any justice for any Canadian Indian, treaty, ceded, unceded, Métis or Inuit. That's a fact. That's a fact. There's been a major crime in world-binding law by all of the Canadian government and all of their provincial designations. But I'm going to try to simplify everything, as painful as everything is for everybody. The United States has 37 states that participated in American Indian boarding schools. While they definitely are older and overlap the same time periods, in the later stage of Canada, they did not do nearly to any kind of extent the same kind of genocide. I'm not talking about cruel or unusual punishment. Understand this, everybody. The worst crime in the world is the crime of children's genocide in armed conflict. It is the most serious crime you can commit in the world today since post 1945. I've been through all of it. People talk about the pandemic. I've been all over tuberculosis long before COVID-19 and all of it. I've went through the numbers. I've went through the numbers of USA in all of its historics, as well as the Federation of Russia when it was even the USSR. Before that, it was a Russian empire. I went through all of it, same time periods, folks. Absolutely same time periods. Folks, 500 American Indian bodies discovered in 37 schools over a 150-year period. Problem. The U.S. government doesn't have any say over education. It's individual state. Okay? USA has control over health federally. Canada, provinces have education. Provinces have absolutely healthcare provincially. Not the same for USA. When we go into a lot of this analysis, you start to find the sickness of a far overreaching Canadian federal government, way beyond its design powers, explicitly designed to kill Canadian Indians. Far beyond, folks, far beyond United States of America. I am not saying any of that is to be minimized, but I will not see, again, I'm going to say it, the crime of children's genocide in the hands of armed conflict. An annual day, an annual crime that is the worst crime in this world today. Canada's guilty. Guilty. U.S. federal government, I am sorry, everybody. As bad as those crimes are, they're not guilty of that particular crime. The worst crime in the entire world. Today, legally, they're not. TB numbers, way lower, astronomically lower, by 2,000% lower than Canada's claims. In all those historical periods, Canada's got 2,000 times more TB claims for those residential school children deaths than USA and Russia. Folks, Doesn't take a rocket scientist to see where we're going. I can release this stuff. This stuff I can say to the public, Americans, Canadians, Russians, anybody who wants to hear it. And they're going to hear it. The world's going to hear this come June 22nd, or 28th, 2022, on the Children's Day of Genocide in Armed Conflict, sponsored by Zhang Jun of China. We're going to see Chief's report. I'm sure of it. I'm sure of it because we're working behind the scenes. Am I going to go into details? No way. No way. This is a 3-year plan and path. It works. Working diligently, so many hours. First Peoples are getting this done. First People every day. Joe Jane, First Peoples in Canada are getting this done for all Canadians and all First Peoples. And we're going to get it done. Is America's history ugly? Sure it is. But there's a whole other narrative here, folks. A British Quebec, the northern states, the abolitionists versus what they say the southern states slavers. When you look at American boarding schools, you see an inverse, the complete opposite. There are always going to be travesties committed. Joe Biden is no hero. I'm sorry, folks, for news media and American Indians talking about Joe Biden's going to get this done. It's already been done. It's already been dealt with. It was done by Richard Nixon. If you don't believe me, go read the history. Any lunatic president sitting now trying to take claim for anything to do with absolutely strengthening the American Indian, it was done by Richard Nixon. He ended it all. He transformed America. No, Joe Biden can't do it. Joe Biden, in his minority Congress and Senate, can't do anything he says he can do. He would be a fucking liar. Because he is a liar. And I can tell you right now, in absolute statistics, you want to go see a majority elected presidency with over 2/3, that's called Richard Nixon. No Congress, Senate going to stop him in that time. That's what you need. And Joe Biden doesn't have that, not by a miracle mile, not even close. Barely beat Donald Trump, barely. He won, not in the majority. His Congress and Senate is scheduled to flip in November. All leading experts, all polling now, shows that even that 1/3 Senate, you're going to hear about it in 2 days, Joe Biden's lost Senate too. And it's only 35 seats out of the 100. And they're mostly Republican. We're talking about 7 Democrat seats available. And they're going to flip. Some of them are going to flip. Doesn't mean the Republicans have an instant majority. No. And Joe Biden will be basically made an impotent president. There is no salvation for the American Indian in any boarding school Joe Biden going to do for the American people. It was already done by a massive majority. One Richard Nixon. If you want to look at his work, he did everything. And when he got thrown out, his vice president, Ford, who became the president, completed all of it. But it was completed by Richard Nixon. Written, developed, all negotiated through Richard Nixon for the American Indian people. Huge amount of land back. More private land for the American Indian, who are 6.7 million people today, than all Canadians and all First Peoples of Canada combined have. They have 135% more private land than all Canadians, all First Peoples. That's the Inuit, Métis, ceded, unceded Inuit, or Indian treaty, or off reserve. Doesn't matter. All, absolutely. That's called real numbers, credible, verifiable, and real. Just as tuberculosis claims, just as the whopping amount of Indian children who died at the hands of the government of Canada, many religious organizations, yes, the Catholic Church in Canada is the worst. But they're also the majority, folks, by a large margin. And when they're only 48% of the numbers, and the Canadian government is holding a good chunk, and absolutely several other major religious organizations are holding the rest. We're talking a crime and travesty unmatched in very, very few other countries of the world. USA isn't one of them. I'm sorry. Is it a crime? Is it wrong? Sure it is. But it's not the crime we're going for. The highest criminal crime in the world known today, sponsored by every nation in the world. Canada's guilty. All of your politicians are guilty. We can go through them all as we go through this over the many years to come. This is only the beginning, what we're going to do on June 28th, 2022 for the entire world. It's great to look at the states, but do not cross. Heavy crime, the worst crime known to man. Do not cross it with the United States, because they are two opposite things. And I promise you, all Canadian First Peoples, Métis, Inuit, Treaty Indian, ceded, unceded, does not matter, and those off reserve, you will never get any land back if you go run off with the American narrative and the media and the bullshit and the Joe Biden. He doesn't have anything he says he can do, he can't do. He does not have that majority behind him. Go read their constitution and you're going to learn. If you don't already know, by November, this November, he's going to be rendered completely impotent. He is no Richard Nixon. He won no clear majority. He did not hit the 66% threshold, not even close, which means much of his powers down here. Americans weren't even sure about voting for him. And now they're turning on him in large droves. You will not see Joe Biden able to complete anything on the American Indian file. You want to see completions on the American Indian file? Richard Nixon. Mass majority. Mass majority. You need a mass majority. A 2/3 majority. Joe Biden don't got that. He ain't going to win no House, no Senate to correct anything. He's a liar. A liar. Another Trudeau. Another Aaron O'Toole. Pierre-Paul Abitibi. Maxime Bernier. Jagmeet Singh, Yves Blanchette, Elizabeth May's new whatever, because she's gone now too by the looks of it. Folks, there's nothing good in Canadian politics, federally or provincially. Division of powers. The feds gave that genocidal power to the provinces. That's how it works forever and a day. And I can show you all the crimes. John Horgan, massive crimes against the First Peoples right in BC. He is the worst today in Canada, living today, 2022. You ain't going to find no story in 2022 like John Horgan anywhere in the United States. Hasn't been a story like that since the early mid-70s. Gone. More than 50 years behind the United States of America. Before you reach out to join flags, oh, we got to mix these two things. You got no land. You got 0.2% of Canada. All of you. Métis Alberta Nation, largest private property owners in Canada by a large margin. They outdo Bill Gates. This isn't fake news. This is real. And I get it. They made a deal in the 30s with a good government from Alberta. They got a deal, but the Treaty Indian got nothing. The Métis got nothing. In fact, boundaries with Treaty 8 and Arctic overlap, a line was drawn there too. All by your filthy, corrupt government. There's so much more we have to do with residential school genocide. I haven't even started yet. We're only in one phase, and I promise you, the next phase is multiple years. Years in time, work that can never be done. Not by oneself. It's going to take a team, which we have, and we're working on it. Then there's the third phase. Not even through second. There's a third phase. We're looking at many years. That's the only thing I'll agree with Roseanne Archibald, National Chief, and absolutely Governor General, that it's going to take a lot of years. But that's it. And I'm not merging any American narratives against the United States of America when that crime is so much less. As sad as that is, I didn't make the world. I'm not trying to minimize anything. But 500 on tens of thousands is different. It's different. And the length of time and the overlap of government oversight is different. You'll find again, what was done in the States, the federal government couldn't undo till they had that majority president. And he came, he saw, and he did. But Joe Biden going forward, it's all a lie, folks. They're about to lose their House and Senate. Go read your history books. I can't make this stop if my life depended on it. Maybe in Canada it does. Maybe it does. But I'm not going to stop, and we're going to keep going. Share, because this is extremely credible, verifiable, and real. You're all going to see it regardless. Regardless. They can try to minimize it. The media is going to be stumped. I don't see how anyone's going to get away with any hidings or mixing or matching. The crime in Canada is severe. Much, much severe. It's in a league of its own with some of the most horrible countries in the world. That's why we were brought to that stage June 28th, 2021. And reporting's going to start again by the chiefs. You're going to see it. I hope and pray that happens. We were going to make it reality. We're going to make it reality. Hang tough and don't get mixed up with America. And I know for First Peoples that's hard. I know with outstanding treaties in North America, and I understand the regional overlaps. I know it better than anybody. I learned it 5 years ago. I did a political party in Alberta looking to settle the Alberta claims at the provincial level. I did that at the provincial level. You'll find the 49 know it. I know all of the geography of North America, all of the history. 5 years of my life devoted to intense study. And it's overlapped me and brought me into the greatest minds in the world today, in history, in law, in economics, and the list keeps going on and on and on. And I just keep growing. It just doesn't stop. I wish I could read 1,000,000 miles an hour. I would read so much if I could, but you can only read so much a day, and you can only get so much done a day. But I'm far beyond a lot of other people, and I am proud of that, and we're going to keep going. We're going to get this job done, and I appreciate people's views on things, but been there, did that, done it, and I can't disclose any more at this time. Thank you. Bye now.